Right, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. We are continuing on the topic of just listed, just sold mastery. So let me go ahead and make a couple of quick adjustments. All right, anyways, adjustments are made. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Let's pick up with where we left off. We were talking about mastering and maximizing each listing and, putting ourselves in a position where ideally that listing is going to lead to more business. So let's talk about that. Let's jump right in. And of course, for those of you that are joining us on all of the other platforms, I will encourage you to come join us over here on Zoom. So those of you that are over on Instagram, so Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all of the other platforms, welcome and thank you for being here on time. All right. So let's get more business. All right. So let's talk about that. Now, as far as when we are going through where you're making these calls, we're calling around the neighborhood, and we are, of course, trying to get that property sold. And in the process of trying to find a buyer for that home, of course, we're going to be looking for, how about yourself? Are they thinking about possibly listing themselves? So those are things that we're going to want to, of course, pay attention to. Now, when we're calling, here's the thing. We need to be in a position where we're always expecting an appointment. And what do I mean by that? It's a very, very simple thing, but for some people, it's a little complex. And what I mean by that is you go through, you make your call. Hey, who do you know of? No one. How about yourself? No, I'm not thinking about it. All right, contact. Well, if that's your approach, it's pretty weak because in the end, we can't go and deposit contacts into our bank account. Even then, we can't even deposit leads into our bank account. So we have to be in a position where we are expecting other appointments. Okay. Now, I know it's very simple, okay, but it is important because, as an example, when I'm going through and I'm knocking on a door, the one thing I'm not doing is I'm not going, okay, please don't answer, please don't answer, please don't answer, please don't answer. All right, please don't answer, please don't answer. All right, flyer, and then you bounce. You don't want to be in that position. What you want to do is the moment that you're going through and about to knock on that door, I visualize my for sale sign. Are you my next appointment? You're my next appointment. Look at that. I even questioned myself. You're my next appointment. You're my next appointment. You're my next appointment. Hi there. My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor, blah, blah, blah. So you want to be in a position where you always have this expectation. Now, I know it sounds very simple, but some of you get with what I call is contact-itis. What is contact-itis? Well, it's just being satisfied with the fact that you had a conversation. For me, it never was. I squeezed every single last possible ounce of information out of that person. Who do you know of? No one. How about yourself? I'm not thinking about it. Well, if you were to make a move, where would you go to? I'd get the hell out of here. Well, where would that be? I don't know, maybe considering Arizona, Nevada. Okay, well, what would be taking you over there? Which of the two states, would you prefer to go to? How soon are you wanting to get there? What's stopping you from making the move right now? Not interested, not interested, not interested. But at least I was able to gather some information. And before I let them go, I ask a final question. Who else do you know of that may be in a position thinking about buying, selling, or even investing anywhere else? I don't know. My sister's saying the exact same thing. Well, where would your sister go? Well, she's going to Arizona. That's the reason I was considering Arizona. Oh, well, when is she looking to make that move? I don't think anytime soon, but I know she's been talking about it. And for her, it is inevitable because her significant other is from Arizona. I just don't know if they're going to do it tomorrow or they're going to do it in 2, 3, 4 years from now. So it puts us in a position where we are executing everything we possibly can. We are in a position where we are executing a course that of the ABCs of sales. Okay, the ABCs of sales are absolutely vital. What is the ABCs of sales? Always be closing. So you're always going to be closing for information. You're always going to be closing for a phone number. You're always going to be closing for anyone else who they may potentially know. You're also going to be closing for their phone number. You're going to be closing for potentially, further information. You're going to be closing for their phone number. You're going to be closing for who else they may know of. You're going to be closing from every aspect. And last but not least, you're going to be closing for appointments. So always be in a position where you're expecting appointments. Also, understand that some conversations are only going to yield a name and a number. Okay. Well, we've thought about it. Okay, cool. Well, what's stopping you from making the move right now? I don't know. We just haven't really given it much thought other than eventually, possibly. Understood. Okay. Well, I see you have a two-story home here. I mean, what would be the benefit of making a move? Well, yeah, exactly that. It's the stairs. Okay. Well, oh, how are those stairs treating you? Not really too fun. Now, here's the thing. Probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I took one of my agents out door knocking, and I did the exact same thing. I always visualize my sign. You're my next appointment. I'm sitting there telling myself a little bit of a story as to with what's behind it. Is the property in disrepair? Is it too much for them? Is it potentially a tenant? How about being in a position where it is a two-story home? What if it's a really large home? What if you've seen these and I always pay attention to all the details. You go up to a home and it's a cute size 2,000 square foot home, pretty decently sized, but you have an RV, you have a boat, you have a truck, you have an SUV, you have a car, you have another car, and they only have a two-car garage. And there's no RV parking, but somehow, some way, they're able to jam everything in there. I'm sitting there saying, hey, maybe they need more house. I use this for the purpose of furthering that engagement. So as I went through, I knocked on the door, as I was sharing with you, as far as working with one of my agents. And I went out, knocked on the door, and this person had a two-story home. And the person that opened up the door was an older gentleman. He was probably approaching his 80s. Hi, my name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. The reason I stopped by, blah, blah, blah. Who do you know of? No, I don't really know of anybody. How about yourself? When are you planning on making that move? No, we've been here for about 30 years. Wow, 30 years. That's a long time. You must have raised a family. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the kids running around, those are my grandkids. Very nice. Well, how's the stairs treating you? Excuse me? Yeah, how's the stairs treating you? Well, it's funny you ask. As a matter of fact, my wife is now sleeping downstairs because she had a spill about a week ago. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, she literally just got back from the hospital yesterday. Oh my gosh. Like, was it like something severe? Yeah, she actually broke her hip and blah, 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 blah. Well, we're not getting any younger. I mean, would you consider possibly the idea of getting this property sold and moving into a single story home? Yeah, we've thought about it, but we've just been here for so long. We just kind of got used to it. I understand. You have a lot of memories. You have 3 decades here. There's a lot that's taken place, but let's be honest with ourselves. We're not getting any younger. Why don't we just have a conversation? Look, I understand you weren't expecting a realtor to come here this morning and knock on your door, but let's explore the ideas. And if it makes sense, great, we move forward. And if it doesn't, that's okay. We can just stay in conversation. Anyways, with this person, knocked on the door, went through, had that conversation, and sure enough, sat down with him and his wife said, "No, we're not going to do this. There's too many memories here." Hey, no worries. I stayed in touch. 6 months later, hello, Robert. Yeah. Hey, Robert. This is so on and so forth. You had come to our house probably about a good 4 or 5, maybe 6 months ago, and we had talked about with my wife breaking her hip. Blah. Oh yeah. Hey, how's it going? Uh, Unfortunately, not too good. As it turns out, my wife fell down the stairs again, and this time she broke her arm. And she doesn't want to sell, but we have to. We have to. Not a problem. Let's get together. Sure enough, took the listing, ended up moving them somewhere else. The point that I'm making is that I could have just simply gone through the script. Who do you know of? No one. How about yourself? Not thinking about it. If you were, we're not thinking about it. None of that. The point that I'm making is you have to be in tune with the person that's in front of you. What if it was the complete opposite? What if, going back to the example of there being the 3 cars, the boat, the RV trailer, 2,000 square foot home, and I'm seeing 4 or 5 kids running around? I'm just giving you some arsenals, what I'm getting at. So sometimes it's just going to be a name and a number. Sometimes if you do your job, you're going to extract the information. Any questions, any comments, any concerns? I know I've been kind of ranting for the last 8, 9 minutes. Any questions that we can go over? Lizette, any insights?
I don't see any questions at the moment.
Okay. Now, when somebody gives us a neutral response, nothing that is of anything, don't let it discourage you. As a matter of fact, even when they tell you to F off, don't take that personal. I know it's easy for us because we're just in this negative, unfortunately, society. And even when that happens, it's okay. Yesterday, Lizette and I, we talked to our team about the importance of knowing your numbers. I knew my sales number was 86. That meant every 86 conversations, I was going to get a paycheck. That meant there was going to be 85 no's, FU's, who the heck do you think you are, all of the everythings before I finally got a yes. Now, was it an exact science? Absolutely not. Sometimes I go through and on the 12th one, bam. Sometimes I go through and it wouldn't be until the 400th one. But overall, over the course of the average, I knew that every 86 on average, I was going to get something. So for me, the question was, how quickly can I get to 86 conversations? How quickly can I get to 86 contacts? Do you know your sales number? It's important. It's important that you knew this. You know this. Now, another thing, if you don't know your numbers, you got to use the filtration system. Okay. What's the filtration system? The filtration system is just, let me give you an example. You go through, you make 100 contacts. And of those 100 contacts, it's very common for you to get about 20 usable names and numbers. What do I mean by that? You go through, you knock on a door, you pick up the phone, you call somebody, you have a conversation. That's one contact. You have 100 of those conversations, there's going to be 20 possible maybes. That's it. No leads. It's just we've thought about it. Eventually, possibly, we're thinking about it. You're in luck. We are in a position to make that move. We just have another option. All of those things. You're going to get 20 names and numbers. Now, of those 20 names and numbers, it was very common for me of those 20 names and numbers to convert into 2 to 4 appointments. 2 to 4 appointments. Okay. Now, keep in mind, an appointment is not a contract sign. Even a contract sign isn't a paycheck. But I would set 2 to 4 appointments based on 100 conversations. Now, of those 2 to 4 appointments, I would take 1 to 2 listings. And it would be very common. Okay. So you have to know your numbers. Now, for every 1 to 2 listings, if I took 2 listings over the course of 10 of those listings, I would probably end up selling about 7, 8, and in a good market, it would be 9 out of the 10, sometimes 10 out of the 10. Why wouldn't I sell all 10 of them? Well, when you're working in volume and you're taking 15, 20 listings a month, not everything is going to sell because sometimes there is that little bit of a stretch. You're over promising just a smidge, but it's just enough. Or you're undercutting yourself where it isn't the full 6% commission and you're agreeing to a 4.5% commission and it's just not enough. So the real question is not if this works. It's really how quickly can you reach to those 100 conversations? Okay. So any questions, any comments, any concerns? And again, thank you guys for being here and joining us this morning. All right. So let's move on. Lizette, you got anything else?
Oh, actually, yeah, we do. Okay, let's take a quick look. So can we work on maybe, don't know, not sure. The maybe people. So can we work on the maybe people?
Yeah, for sure.
Question number 1. Question number 2, really quickly, is when calling on just listed scripts, is it a good idea to leave a voicemail to invite neighbors to the upcoming open house?
All right. So the first one, work on the maybe. Tell me a little bit more about that. Who is that, by the way?
That's coming from Craig Brandel.
Okay. Craig, are you in a position to unmute?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So tell me a little bit more what you mean by let's work on the maybes. What do you mean by that?
The people that are like, well, I don't know. We thought about it, but probably like maybe 5, 10 years, that kind of thing.
Okay. How long have you been in the business, Craig?
30 years.
Okay, cool. How much longer do you plan on being in business?
56, so maybe 15, 20 more years.
Cool. Awesome. So with some of these people, the reason I'm asking that, whether you've been in the business for 2, 3 years and you have another 20 years, or you've been in the business for 40 years and you have 5 more years, there's going to be some people that you might want to hold on to just a little bit longer. So with the maybes, there's going to be a lot of maybes, and the maybes are going to be dependent as to their personal situation. If I'm talking to, going back to the gentleman that I described, you see him, you knock on the door, and he's a little bit of an older gentleman living in a 2-story home, that maybe is probably a very good likely. But if you have the maybe that is coming from the 28-year-old that just moved in and is starting a family for the very first time, and they've only been there for about 6 months, and maybe we're thinking about expanding the family. Well, how many kids do you have now? Well, we don't have any kids, but our goal is to have at least 3. Well, that maybe is a little bit different. Okay. But let's work on it. Give me a scenario. I want you to think of a scenario and a maybe, and I'll show you how to actually work through that. Okay. So do you have a scenario in mind?
Like something that happened to me recently, or just
any scenario, just a realistic scenario. Nothing
Sure.
about I'm going to move when my dog dies. Nothing like that. Just simply something that's very
Okay. Sure. Yes.
Okay. So how about yourself, Craig? When are you planning on making a move?
Uh, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe
Maybe you've thought about it. Okay. Well, out of curiosity,
here
how
and
long have you
there.
lived here, by the way?
Oh, 10 years or so.
Oh, okay. So you've been here now for about 10 years. Where'd you move from 10 years ago?
We came from the Bay Area,
Oh, very nice. What part of the Bay Area were you living at?
Walnut Creek.
Okay. Beautiful area. I love Walnut Creek. How'd you end up deciding to move to this area?
Job transfer.
Cool.
Wanted
Are
to
you still
get
there at that same job?
yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Awesome. Good. Now, I know you mentioned earlier, as far as a maybe, if you were to make a move, Craig, where would you consider making a move to?
Oh, I don't know, maybe something with a on the other side of town, maybe closer to the park.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the other side of town, closer to the park. Now, what would be the benefit of making that move, Craig?
Uh, Getting closer to the park, I don't. That's why it's kind of a maybe because we talk about this all often, but we just I guess there's nothing really, nothing other than more a little bit more convenience.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, obviously, you weren't expecting a realtor to call you this morning and ask you questions about where you're going to potentially move to next. But Craig, let me ask you, as far as your wife is concerned, how does she feel about it?
Well, she's a lot more interested than I am, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and obviously, you've heard of the old saying, Craig, happy wife, happy life, right?
No doubt, no
Right? Yeah.
doubt.
Now, if you were to make a move closer to the park, what would your wife be looking most forward to?
Well, not having, just to be able to kind of like walk into the park and on the trails and stuff, as opposed to driving across town and getting out and doing that. Just,
Yeah,
just convenience.
absolutely. So convenience factor, being a little bit closer to the park, your wife is really excited about it. I mean, you've been here for about 10 years, and that commute having to go back and forth is maybe not that inconvenient, but it is, of course, an inconvenience to you guys making that, the consistency of going over to the park. Now, if you guys were to make that move, how would it impact you and your family by making the move closer to that park?
Well, depends on who you're talking to. Um, if you're talking to her,
Uh,
very convenient, but to me, I don't know.
okay, got it. Yeah. Now, do you guys
That's
have
why
any
it's this
kids or
maybe
dogs
thing.
that you guys take with you to the park?
Yes.
Yes to both.
Oh, I'm sorry. The dogs.
Ah, there we go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Letting the dogs free and just letting them go hang out, huh?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it for sure.
Cool. Awesome. How many dogs do you guys have?
Just one, just one.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like a dog that you guys absolutely love and adore, though.
Yeah, that's true. Dogs have a way of growing on you.
Yeah. Hey, Craig, let's do this. Here's what I want to do. I want you to have a conversation with your wife. I mean, I know you weren't expecting a realtor, like I said, to call you this morning and make that move. But if we could get all the stars in alignment, get everything lined up so that we can get you, your wife, in a position where you can get closer to that park as you're wanting. I mean, would it be worth exploring the possibilities of, I don't know, maybe getting guys over there by, I don't know, maybe the fall on the other side of summer?
Yeah, I guess that's possible.
The only reason I'm asking is just simply obviously you realize in today's market, Craig, it could take anywhere from one, maybe up to about 3 months to get a home sold. And on top of that, you got another 30 to 45 days to close escrow. So in reality, we're looking at about 2 to 5 months to go through the entire process. Did you know that?
Um, no, not really.
So you
Hadn't
have
thought about that.
Yeah, so you have plenty of time on your hands. And obviously, it's not like we're going to be putting the home on the market today or tomorrow or heck, even
Hmm.
next week. But what I want to do is I want to be able to explore the possibilities of us getting together and seeing if it does make sense. Fortunately, get you one step closer to this, this home that you're talking about. All we need to do now is just simply nothing more than set up a time so that we can go ahead and, talk a little further about getting you closer to that park. Won't that be great?
Yeah, sure.
Well, talk it over with your wife. Let's do
Okay.
this. Let me put you on the calendar. Gives you some time to talk it over with your wife. I can always put you down, pencil you in for like Thursday, or would it be better if we were to get together maybe Saturday morning?
Well, Thursday's fine as
Yeah,
long as it's in the
absolutely.
afternoon, the evening part after work.
Awesome. Perfect. Let me take a look. Thursday. Yeah, that looks good. I got a 4 o'clock, or you know what? We can always do something a little bit later, like 6. What works best for you?
6 would be better.
Perfect. All right, Craig. Well, I got you down here for 6 o'clock. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call you on Wednesday, tomorrow, and I'll just go through. I'm going to pull up some information, see what I can gather, do my homework, and then I'm just going to go through and ask you some questions a little bit deeper in regards to how I can be of some help to you. Okay, Craig?
Oh, okay.
Awesome. Hey, I'm going to send you my information. Talk it over with your wife. We'll confirm tomorrow, and I'll go through and ask you some of those questions.
All right. That sounds fine.
So that's how we take a maybe and turn it into a more than likely. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, it was just kind of go where the flow and um just like where all the stars align. I kind of like some of all that stuff.
Yeah, it's really just a matter of putting everything in proper perspective. And in this particular position, Craig could be like, well, no, we're just not ready yet. My wife's really not that interested. Or, you know what, I haven't even talked to my wife. Or, you know what, I'm not really ready to set an appointment. Craig, hey, no worries, man. I really understand. Like I said, you weren't expecting a realtor to call you. I'm not expecting of you to make a move next week. All I want to do is just simply have a conversation. I'm going to be in the business for the next 10, 15, 20 years. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. So when you're
Right.
ready, I'm ready. But let me
Yeah.
do this. You talk it over with your wife. What I'll do is I'll call you next Monday to see if you had that conversation. If she says yeah, she gives you the thumb up, then we'll go ahead and set that in stone. If she says no, it's not a problem. We'll stay in touch and we'll just kind of take it from there. Do you see what I'm
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
So it
I had
doesn't
that
matter whether it is what we role played or it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, I actually kind of had something like that happen last week where they called up and like, well, it was an old for sale by owner number I had, and I'm just like, hey, this is like 2, 3 years old. Let me see what happened. And they're like, well, I mean, I wasn't really expecting you to call today, so well, we thought about it, but I got to talk to my husband about it. I'm like, all right, well, I totally understand, like you said, and then I set the appointment for they're like today, and I'm all, we can go today, Tuesday, following Thursday. What works best for you? And so I did set an appointment for this upcoming Thursday, a week later.
Cool.
But yeah, it was kind of like whoa, kind of we weren't really thinking. I mean, we were thinking about it, but we're not like wow, like making that move today.
Yeah,
And
here's the thing, Craig. Out of these 10 maybes, there's a very good likelihood that only one or two of them that are going to come together. And that's okay. I have
right,
no problem with that. All I'm trying to do is just continue going back to the filtration system. I'm just trying to put as many maybes in that bucket, putting more maybes,
right,
more maybes, more maybes, more maybes. And the
sure,
faster that I get to 10 maybes, I'm going to set the one or two appointments. I call you
right.
back on Monday in the second case scenario, and you go, yeah, you know what? My wife's just not interested. Not a problem. Let's stay in touch. I'll check back with you maybe in about 6 months to see if plans change. In the meantime, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. So I'm in a no lose situation.
Right.
Okay.
It's a contact you didn't have, a possibility you didn't have,
Yeah.
and it's if it's moving forward, you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Absolutely. So does that answer your question, Craig?
Yeah, yeah. I liked it. It wasn't it to me, it didn't even feel like it was a high pressure situation where somebody was like, well, I mean, I guess yeah, I'll talk it over. Hey, no problem. You weren't thinking of a realtor calling you. I get it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and that's
yeah,
the thing with just listed. There's not as much in terms of competition because there isn't a lot of urgency. There is ever so often, okay, and not going to say that there isn't any competition, but it's a little bit different when it's an expired or a FISBO. If it's an expired, I got to get in there today. Like I got to
yeah,
get there right now because if not, I'm going to be competing with 2 to 5 other realtors to take your.
yeah.
If I sat there and said, "Hey, let's get together. I'll follow up with you next Monday." Never mind. Next Monday, that property's in escrow.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for participating. All right, Lizette. I think we had another question.
Yes, so Manny asked, when calling on just listed, is it a good idea to leave a voicemail to invite neighbors to the upcoming open house?
Okay, so on this one, thank you, Manny, for the question. So there's two responses. Response number one, if I'm going through if I'm going through the circulation of calling these people, as an example, I have 500 numbers, 500 of the neighbors. That very first round, I'm not going to leave a voicemail. The second round, I'm going to call all of them back. I'm not going to leave a voicemail. The third time, Now I'm going to cross them off the list and I'm just going to simply move on. At that point in time, Manny, I will leave a voicemail. Okay. Because what I don't want to do, what I don't want to do is I don't want to be in a position on that very first call. I leave a voicemail. The person picks up their phone and they go, open house. Okay. Anyways, the next day you call them, they go, oh, that's the realtor regarding the open house. I don't want to talk to them. So I just want you to take a little bit more of a systematic approach. Okay, so the answer to your question is I don't on the first two calls, but on the third one I will. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. All right, anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns, anything of anything else? All right, let's get some role play in. We got a little bit of time, so let's go ahead and get a role play in. Who wants to be that person that's going to give it a go? Come on, don't fight over each other.
I'll do it.
All right, let's go for it. By the way, who is this?
It's Deborah.
All right, let's do it.
Um, let's see. Knock knock.
Hello.
Hi, Robert.
Uh-huh.
My name is Deborah Patton. I'm a local realtor with Intero.
Okay.
The reason stopped by today is just we just listed a beautiful home over on Banana Street, and it's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and it listed for a great price of 2.5. And I'm curious, who do you know that would like to move into our neighborhood?
And that property is where again?
It's on Banana Street.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I know where Banana Street is. Yeah, I don't really know of anybody that's really looking to make a move. I know some of the people are trying to get out.
Well, I really appreciate you thinking about it. Tell me, what about yourself? When do you plan on moving?
Oh, I'm not making a move anytime soon.
Okay, so you're not moving anytime soon. How long have you lived at this address?
Been here for I think 12, 13, actually now I'm thinking about it, almost 14 years.
14 years. Wow. So where'd you move from?
Not too far. We actually moved from Antioch.
Antioch. Okay. So how did you happen to choose this area?
Well, the kids, college, getting a little bit closer, so that they don't have to commute as much. They don't have to live on campus. As you know, the expense is pretty crazy over here. So we just kind of wanted to help support them financially. And yeah, but again, that was a little while ago.
Yeah, so things change, right?
Yeah, they're off. They're doing their own thing. They're living their own lives. But I mean, it was a fun little ride there. It was about 6 years putting three kids through college.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, if now, Robert, if you were to move, big if, where would you go next?
Ah, I don't know. We've toyed with the idea because this is a little bit too much house for us now, but we're just kind of tolerating it. We've been here for a little while, and I don't know. We might consider it down the road.
Okay. So no real plans to move anytime soon.
I mean, not anytime soon.
Okay. So um just just throwing this out there, when do you think you would be in a position to move?
If you were to make a move, go to number 5.
If you were to make a move, when do you think that would be?
I don't know. I mean, I know that it's kind of the inevitable. I mean, this home here is about 2,400 square feet. I like, the size, but I think we could probably do a little bit less, maybe a bedroom less, maybe get into that 1,800, 2,000 square foot type of home. But we really don't want to move too far in the neighborhood.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you want to stay in this neighborhood?
Let's stop right there for the sake of time. So thank you for
Okay.
participating. First off, let me give Lizette the opportunity to give a little bit of critique.
I mean, I think she did really great. It flowed really naturally. I felt like it was a calm conversation, so it just felt like a very natural conversation. And then I think she did a great job as going into the if. I know there was a slight stumble, but that's okay. I mean, you found a question that was a good question, but an even better was sparking curiosity with the if. If you were to make a move, well, where would you go, or when would you make that move? So that was it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and on the other side of that too, Deborah, if you were to make a move, where would you go to next? Well, we're thinking about maybe a bedroom less or maybe a little bit smaller. Just stay in conversation. Okay. Well, tell me a little bit more about that. What do a bedroom less, a little bit smaller? I mean, do you have something in mind? Anything from that direction? All you're trying to do is just stay in an engaged conversation, or better yet, just go right to it. And the right to it is what's stopping you from making the move now. Because a lot of the time, these people are not sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, a realtor knocked on my door. You know what? Now that you knocked on my door, thank you for stopping by. We are going to make that move. A lot of times, 99.9% of the time, it's kind of yeah, we have been talking about it. As a matter of fact, Lizette and I have been talking about it for the last year, but I don't know when or, what's the right time or where we're even going to go. But we know we've talked about the inevitable. And all we're trying to do is extract information. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's not as if though this person on the other side of the door is going to say, hey, thanks for coming by. Yes, let's meet. Sometimes it's just extracting information is all we're trying to get at. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so just stay intrigued, stay in tune. If you were to make a move, and what's stopping you, by the way, from making that move now? That's such a powerful question. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's a little bit of what I would say as far as critique is concerned. All right, everybody, we are at 8 o'clock. I'll go through any questions that can be vocalized that I can address before I let everybody go.
I did have a quick question. I think, well, first of all, she did a great job. Good
Yeah.
job, Deborah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. When you kind of said like, well, I've heard some others that are considering moving in a neighborhood. Where do you go from that? Do you just keep on the whole thing about talking and then bring it back to? Now you mentioned that some others in your neighborhood. Where do you go from with that?
Yeah, let me address that for the sake of time. So I'm going to go over by just 1 minute. So as far as that is concerned, I have no problem with you going away from the script under the exception that you're asking who, what, when, where, why. Now, who has been speaking about that? Where would those people go? And then what you're going to do is you're going to come back. The script is nothing more than a guide. Think of when you're bowling, they're the bumpers in your conversation. Okay. What I don't want you to do, if they've assigned lane 3 to you, I don't want you bowling on lane number 7. I want you bowling on lane number 3. But at the same point in time, you can go through and ask a little bit of questions. Tell me a little bit more about it. Oh, you don't know of any of the neighbors? Okay, anyone in specific? No, nobody. Okay, well, hey, I really appreciate you even taking the time to think about it. Tell me, how about yourself? Or sometimes you go, well, which one of the neighbors? Well, that dude right there, he's wanting to get out of here. He keeps talking about blah, 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 blah. Well, there you go. Okay, so all you're trying to do is just be a little bit more in tune in regards to that. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys all for being here. I will see you guys. Oh, don't forget today, 12:30, we get the opportunity to do an amazing interview. So I'm going to encourage you to, look on Instagram for all information, and I'll see you guys today at 12:30. Have a powerful, productive day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.